All right, all right. We are live. We are live on YouTube. Let's see if anybody's here. If you guys are here watching right now, feel free to drop a comment. I'm just going to wait for folks to come on in. I'm excited about today's live stream because I'm going to be going through and answering a bunch of questions. So I got a bunch of questions that came in on Facebook, YouTube. I posted I sent out an email. So I got a bunch of different questions about selling on Amazon. And I'm going to go through, I'm going to answer all of these questions and hopefully add some value to you guys, help you guys out. So I'm just going to wait for folks to come on in and we'll get started in a couple of minutes. Okay. So if you guys are here watching live right now, feel free to say hello. Let me know where you are from, where you're watching from in the country. I'm here in Connecticut. That's where I live. I'm outside of the Hartford area. If you're new to my channel, I've been selling on Amazon for about, I think 11 or 12 years now. I actually started, going to places like Toys R Us and doing retail arbitrage, clearance. I started going to thrift stores, library sales. And over the years, I've kind of grown and, expanded into other ways of sourcing. For me now, a lot of my sourcing comes from eBay to Amazon, which I'm sure you probably know. I just love eBay to Amazon because I don't have to leave the house. All the items come directly to me. I don't have to drive all around. I got into a bad car accident years ago, and I kind of just got to the point where I didn't want to drive all over the city, having to hunt down deals. And for me, I just want my money working for me. I do thrift. I still go to garage sales, some flea markets, just because it's a ton of fun. But for me, mostly, sourcing items, off of eBay. So let's see who we got in the house right now. We got Shop Epic Gifts. Hey, what's up, Shop Epic Gifts? Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Hello from Utah. We got Kevin Hawthorne in the house. What's up, Kevin? I really do appreciate you always coming and hanging out and watching the live streams. I hope your business is doing very well. Good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. Great to have Lakeland, Florida in the house. We got Phantom Blue. Said, oh God, I was working, forgot this tab was open. You scared me. What is Steve doing at the office, right? What is Steve doing here? He's trying to get me to quit my job and go source some books full time. What's up, Eric? Really appreciate you being here, Eric. Eric from Atlanta. Hope you're doing well. I'm doing great. Everything's, going smooth. Things are going really great with the health and fitness, down about 50 pounds in the last year and a half. The business is going really, really well. In the last year, I'm at about 6,000 plus products that I've flipped on Amazon for about 650,000. My sales are down a little bit. But it's not necessarily because things are going poorly. My sales are down a little bit because I've been more picky about the items that I'm purchasing. And it's not all about how much you sell. It's what your ROI is. What's your profit at the end of the day? So sales are pretty consistent compared to 2024, down a little bit, 7-8%, but my margins are up a lot. So anyways, great to have you here, Eric. And would love to know how everybody else's business is going. Are you just getting started? Are you... Maybe you're on the newer side. You just sent in your first shipment. Would be curious to know where you stand in your Amazon business. But if you're just coming in right now, I've got about 20 questions that I'm going to be answering. And we're going to get started in a minute. These are questions from Facebook, questions from Instagram. I sent out an email asking people for questions and whatnot. So just answering a ton of questions, guys. And the replay will be up as well if you're not able to, watch live or you have to get going. Phantom Blue's at work right now, so I don't want to get you in trouble, Phantom Blue. Hey, look who we have here. We have Flipping with Amanda. We got the Walmart flipping queen in the house who, by the way, everybody congratulate Amanda. Her and her husband, they just moved. They got a nice new apartment. They're doing a really great job. Proud of them, killing it. Love to see it. Thanks, Amanda, for stopping by. What's up, Junior? We got McAllen, Texas in the house. What's up, Junior? Oh, these are my invoices, Adam. Hey, great to have you here, Adam. I appreciate you. So let's get on to the first question. So I received a question recently. So the question is, let's say, for example, you go into a thrift store and you find a brand new sealed DVD. I got a question asking, if you find a brand new sealed DVD and you get the DVD, it looks good, it's profitable, it's going to make you maybe $7, $8, $9, $10 profit. But when you shake the DVD, it's rattling inside. The question is, can you sell a DVD that's new sealed, but it's rattling inside? Can you sell it as new? And for me personally, I won't. The reason I don't want to sell DVDs as new, even if it's new and sealed and the DVD inside is loose, if the DVD inside is loose or it's shaking around, is because the actual CD could be scratched. It could be damaged. And I've sold these in the past as new, and sometimes Amazon will actually put them into your stranded inventory when they're inspecting it or checking it in if you're selling FBA. So I've noticed that those types of DVDs do go stranded, or they tend to get returned a lot more. So some people will try to like put their hand on the DVD and try to get it in to like fit back in. But obviously, like if you're going to sell a DVD as new, some people say like, can I open it up and put it back in and then sell it as new? It's not new. Like if you're going to sell items as new, DVDs, board games, CDs, and it comes in its original wrapping, you can't unwrap it and then, say it's new. This isn't eBay. When you're selling on Amazon, in order for you to sell an item as new, it has to be like new on the shelf. And when it comes to a DVD and it being loose and it's shaking around, honestly, I just won't buy it, or I'll just sell it as used. So I'm curious for the folks who are watching now, like if you're at the thrift store and you're scanning and you find a DVD, it's brand new sealed, if it's shaking, what will you do? For me, I'll sell it as used or I'll skip it. But a lot of times it's not going to be worth as much money used. So for me, a lot of times I'll skip them. So I do eBay to Amazon, and I actually send a script to the seller. So like if I'm buying a DVD from eBay to flip on Amazon, I'll send them a little script and say, hey, I just want to make sure, is this DVD brand new sealed? Is it not shaking inside? Like if you shake it, it's not rattling around, because again, those items will go stranded. Amazon doesn't like it. I don't think the customers like it that much. So I'll usually just sell them as used, or I'll skip them entirely. Phantom Blue says, I'm trying to do an ebook and print on demand hybrids. A lot of struggling with marketing, but my next series of ebooks will work. And I think you would find them pretty cool. Yeah. Reach out. Let me know when you got them all finished. That's pretty cool. I used to be in the ebook game on Kindle, Amazon Kindle. I actually still have Kindle ebooks that sell, that were written by virtual assistants. Quick History says, Steve, I've been following you for years. To be honest, I'm really hesitant to do the eBay arbing to Amazon. I have been burnt twice with Amazon. My last attempt with them lost me money yet again. I mean, the reality is it doesn't matter if you do eBay to Amazon. It doesn't matter if you do thrifting. It doesn't matter if you're running a wholesale business. Amazon in 2025 can make you a lot of money, but there's a ton of risks nowadays. I mean, with lost shipments, them not accepting invoices. I mean, you could be doing wholesale or even private label, and they just ban your brand, or they just kick you off of the listing. So, I mean, the reality is there's risk with every single model. The reason I like eBay to Amazon over other models, eBay to Amazon, all the products come to my house. I don't have to drive all around. The profit margins are freaking insane. Like a lot of my products that I'm picking up, books, DVDs, CDs, I'm making 60, 70, 80%. And I'm flying under the radar. Like the products that I'm going after are only selling 3, 4, 5, 6 times per month. So they're not sexy. They're not popular. And you might be thinking, well, if a product's only selling 5 or 6 times a month, why would I buy it? Like there's going to be 30 people on the listing. It's going to take months. No, I'm buying items that are like discontinued, vintage. They're not in the store. You can't buy the DVDs at Best Buy. Like I flip a lot of toys. That's one of my top categories. And these are items that are just discontinued. So there might only be 1 or 2 or 3 sellers on the listing. So even though it might only sell 1, 2, 3 times a month, I'll typically win the buy box and sell it. And it's a really good return going after those items because they're hard to come across. The supply is low. The demand is kind of low too, but you can't find them anywhere. And the prices are pretty high. So with eBay to Amazon, I've done over 6,000 products, about 650 to 700,000. I don't know what my exact numbers is. It's around 650,000 over the last 12 months. But for me, there's risk with every single model. It's just, you've got to pick your poison. And, a lot of gurus now are going to say, oh, eBay to Amazon's the best, or wholesale's the best, or thrifting's the best or private label, but a lot of them are just trying to sell you on a course. And the reality is every single model has pros and cons. There's pros and cons to doing wholesale versus eBay to Amazon. I mean, eBay to Amazon, there's a lot more risk for sure. They're not going to take your invoices. You've got to fly under the radar. You've got to be very careful what you pick up. But with eBay to Amazon, you can start your business with a couple $100s. With wholesale, you're going to be spending tens of thousands of dollars. And I know there's exceptions to the rule, but it's like, imagine that you spent like $15,000, $20,000 on a product wholesale, and then Amazon all of a sudden just kicks you off the listing and just bans you for a specific brand, which happens. Like, you're SOL, you're screwed. Whereas with eBay to Amazon, you're only picking up one or two quantity of an item. So the risk is a lot lower there. But again, pick your poison. That's Amazon in 2025. There's risks, there's landmines, there's sharks in the water. You just need to identify where the sharks are and do everything you can to just reduce your risk. But there's no way to like guarantee 100%. Like, there's no way to guarantee you're going to be 100% safe on Amazon. It's just the reality now. So hopefully that helps. All right, let's get into the next question here. So I got a question from someone saying, I'm new to selling on Amazon, and a lot of the books that I scan are restricted. I'm going to the thrift stores, I'm scanning books, and like 80% of this stuff is restricted. What should I do? My account's 1 month old. How do I get ungated, or how long does it take? So that's a great question. I've talked about this before, but the reality is when you have a brand new account on Amazon, Amazon doesn't know you. They don't trust you. So like, I always recommend starting with books, because books is going to be the category that you're going to be able to sell the most products. But when your account's 1 month old or less, for every 100 books that you scan, you might only be able to sell 20. So to make a long story short, you've got to sell the books that you can sell. Let's just say you're gated in 80% of the books. Sell the 20 that you can sell that are profitable, send them in. And as you sell more and more books, Amazon's going to trust you more. You're going to get feedback. The more successful transactions you have, Amazon's going to trust you. They're going to ungate you for more products. They're actually going to auto ungate you. So they're automatically going to like go from, maybe you can only sell 20 out of 100. You'll be able to sell 25, then you'll be able to sell 30, then you'll be able to sell 40, and then 50. And they slowly but surely open up the category for you. So, I mean, the same applies with payouts. When you first start selling books on Amazon, they're not going to give you your whole payment. They're going to give you a small portion. It's called Amazon Reserves. And then they're going to open it up slowly but surely, because they're trying to protect their platform. You're not selling to your customers on Amazon. You're selling to Amazon's customers. And if somebody sells a bootleg or a counterfeit or doesn't ship an item out or screws over an Amazon customer, the Amazon customer is not pissed off at me. They're not pissed off at Heather or John or the seller, Greg. They're pissed off at Amazon. And you know what they say? They say, I'm not shopping on Amazon anymore. It's BS. I'm going to eBay. I'm going to Target. So Amazon's trying to protect their brand. So, I mean, ultimately, what you just have to do is sell what you can. And slowly but surely, Amazon's going to ungate you, auto ungate you. You'll actually be able to click like auto ungate, apply to sell, and you'll be able to sell more and more. But it's just part of putting in your dues when you're new to selling on Amazon. I mean, it is what it is. I was wondering why Amazon keeps rejecting my EIN document. It's weird. I'm not sure. You got to make sure your address is correct. Got to make sure all your information is correct. Try to talk to somebody if you can, but there's probably one word or letter or social security or your EIN or something is off for the most part. Yeah, Amazon is very, very cautious. All right, let's get into the next question. I got a question asking, Steve, what's the minimum profit that I will accept when I go to a thrift store? So if I'm at a thrift store and I'm looking for books, I'm looking for DVDs, I'm out there, I'm scanning, I'm finding deals. Say I find a book that's going to make me $3 profit, $4 profit. Do I just buy anything that makes me money? And the answer is no. So for me, personally, in my business, if I'm at a thrift store, I only want to buy items that make at least $7 to $8 profit. The thing you have to understand is it's not guaranteed money. All because you're going to make $3 profit, it doesn't mean it's guaranteed money. And you have to understand it takes time to bring the item home and inspect it, maybe clean it, maybe, look through, make sure there's no highlighting, or make sure, like, if maybe you're buying a DVD or a video game that's used, testing it out, making sure it works. You're going to have to go and list it. I recommend using GoToLister if you're going to list. Amazon Seller Central is so slow. You're going to have to put it in a box. You're going to have to ship it. And also you have to keep in mind that all because you think you're going to sell this item for $27, it doesn't mean you're going to. The market could change. Prices could tank. Sellers could come in. I mean, the reverse could happen as well. Sellers could leave and you could sell it for more. But when I am, but when I'm scanning items and I'm looking at items, for me, I like $7 to $8 minimum profit just because it gives me some cushion if the price drops by $1 or $2. Or sometimes when you send items to Amazon FBA, it might take 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks to check in and the prices could change. So if you're going after like $2, $3, $4 profit, you have to ask yourself, what's your time worth? What happens if the market changes? What if the prices tank? So for me, $7 to $8, but for you, it could be different. I'm curious. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what's the minimum profit that you'll flip from a thrift store or a garage sale or a library sale. Oh, what's good? What's good, Mike? I know you and I think we've been chatting a little bit on Facebook. Great to see you here, Mike. Appreciate you. Matt says, just keep making sales and they'll start to or they'll start to negate restrictions. Absolutely. Yeah, in the beginning, they're just going to restrict a lot of things. But again, over time, this is a business. Amazon is a business that rewards the sellers who don't give up. Amazon rewards the sellers who fight through the tough times in the beginning. They fight through the, reserves where Amazon's holding your money. They want to see, are you a true business? Are you going to stick around? For the sellers who fight through all the restrictions, right? For the sellers who are consistently listing, consistently shipping, Amazon's rewarding sellers for selling a bunch of products. I mean, I remember over the last year, a lot of people were gated in Marvel. They ended up getting regated in Lego. There was like a big sweep through on Amazon where people got gated on products they were ungated for. And the reality is a lot of the people who were selling low volume, who weren't selling a lot of Lego, Marvel, certain book publishers, they regated them. So Amazon is rewarding sellers nowadays in 2025 and beyond for sellers who are active. Unfortunately, if you're just kind of dabbling and messing around and selling a few things here, a few things there, it's tough nowadays, to be honest with you. Phantom Blue says everything is relative to the location's cost of living. Yeah, that's certainly true for sure. It's definitely true. Depending on where you live, you might be in the Carolinas. You might be okay with $4, right? Rent might be $800 a month, where in Connecticut, and I'm just making this up, I might want $8 profit because my rent is $1,600. So yeah, definitely. It's all relative, and it's based upon what's your time worth, how much products you're able to source. For me personally, I'm at a point where I could source unlimited amount of products. Like yesterday, we spent $3,500 on eBay. So, I mean, not unlimited. I can't spend, $100,000 in a day, nor would I want to. But, for me, I'm not going to accept $3, $4 profit because I could find items all day long. Like my average profit per flip is over $30 on eBay. So every single item that I buy on eBay, and I track this, I have spreadsheets, metrics, I have 2 virtual assistants who source for me full time. I can show you hard data that shows our average flip is making a minimum of $30. So for me, if I'm going to go to a thrift store, and this is just me, right? This isn't what's right or what's wrong, but for me, I don't want to mess with things making less than $7 or $8 profit, right? But that's, again, you have to choose. Just like Phantom Blue says, it's all relative. Phantom Blue says, I live in the Carolinas and I would only take $10 minimum. Rent here is usually $1,500. That's crazy. Rent has gone up so much all over the country. Leave a comment down below if you're watching this now or you're watching the replay. What is the average rent for, let's just say, a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartment? Maybe it's like 800 to 1,200 square feet. What's the average rent? Around here, it's probably around like 1,500 for just like a lower end, decent area. If you get into a really nice area, I mean, double that. Rent has just gone through the roof. All right, guys, let's get into the next question. And feel free, guys, if you have questions, drop questions down below. I'm going to try to get through all 20 of these questions. So I got a question asking, Steve, what sales rank and monthly sales should I focus on for media, like books, CDs, and DVDs when I'm starting out? So if you're brand new, and you're going out and you're scanning books and you're scanning DVDs and you're wondering, what's the sales rank that I should be focusing on? A better question should be not only what's the sales rank, but how many times per month is the item selling, or how many times per 6 months is the item selling. So if you're using apps like Scout IQ or Scoutly, with Scout IQ, you could scan a product and it'll tell you the sales rank, but it'll tell you how many times it's sold within a 6-month period. So typically, like if I'm going after books, or if I'm going after DVDs, I mean, I'll just share books. For books, I'm looking for books that are selling, 5 to 10 times per 6-month period, or at least selling 1 or 2 times per month on average. For me, a general rule of thumb is with books, books under $1 million are really good. You can flip books that are 2 million, 3 million rank. I mean, I've sold books that are 9 million rank, but in general, if the book's selling at least 1 or 2 times a month, that's a good rule of thumb. So, the E-score would be anywhere from 5 to 15. That's kind of like the lower end. If you could find books that are selling 5, 10, 15, 20 times a month, that's better. When it comes to DVDs, typically with DVDs, I'm looking for DVDs that are selling at least a couple times per month and under 100,000 rank. Now, again, this is just a general rule of thumb. I've sold DVDs that are 500,000 rank. Now, a 500,000 rank might not have sold within 9 or 10 months. But you have to understand, rank is just a snapshot in time. You could have a DVD that's a 500,000 rank, and if it sells, it's going to change to a 40,000 rank overnight. You could have a 10 million rank book. If it sells, it's going to drop down to about 100,000. So my recommendation is to not live and die based on the sales rank, but look at the monthly sales. And you could do this using an app like Scout IQ or Scoutly or SellerAmp if you're scanning with any of those apps, or you could look in Keepa and you could look for those green drops to see how often the item is selling. So I don't live and die based on sales rank. I think sales rank is important, but what I think is more important is monthly sales and looking at the Keepa chart to see, again, I'm doing this because I'm thinking in terms of seeing a chart with the little green drops for Keepa, how often it's selling. What's the cadence of the sales? Wow. Chicago average rent, 2,000. Mike says 1 bedroom, 1,500. Wow. Chicago, 2 bedroom, 2,800. Unbelievable. Yo, what's going on, Mr. Exquisite? Hope you're doing well. Miss you, brother. Hope business is going well. I know you're always crushing it, man, and getting after it. Hopefully I'll see you soon at a Connecticut thrifting meetup. All right. So I got a question from my friend, Mr. Exquisite, asking, Steve, what's the best model that you think a new beginner that was on eBay for a little bit would be to get started on FBA or even Amazon in general, especially with all the manufacturers that are gated now? So in my opinion, I think if you have zero experience on Amazon, that's what I'm assuming. So are you saying that you have zero experience? You're just like an eBay seller? Like if you're an eBay seller with zero experience, I would say the best way to get started is going to be doing retail arbitrage, not doing eBay to Amazon, not doing Amazon to Amazon. Why? Those take more knowledge. They take more capital. There's more risk involved. Of course, that's what I do. But you have to understand, I've been doing this for 12 years. I've been doing eBay to Amazon for 5 years. So if you're brand spanking new, the best way to get started is selling books, because again, that's going to be the biggest category that you can sell. It's the easiest way to source inventory really, really cheap. It's the easiest way to start sending items in, selling products, gaining Amazon's trust. And again, in the beginning, the first 3 to 6 months, you're trying to gain Amazon's trust. So they send you your payouts in full and they're not all held in reserves. So they start to auto and gate you in different categories. So I would literally just start going to library sales. I would start going to thrift stores. I would start posting ads on Nextdoor, which is a place where it's like your neighborhood. You could put out wanted ads to get free book pickups, free DVDs, so on and so forth. But honestly, I would just start with arbitrage, Facebook Marketplace, locally, thrift store, Salvation Army. The risk is low. You could buy inventory really, really cheap. And, you could continue to sell on eBay where, you do, Amazon on the side. As you get ungated, as you sell more products, Amazon's going to auto ungate you. And then I would move into DVDs right after that. You can go to a website called christianbooks.com. buy 10 of a CD, 10 of a DVD, get the invoice, send it to Amazon, and now you could be ungated in DVDs and CDs. And after a couple of months of selling more and more books, they're going to ungate you. They're going to let you sell more products. And as you even sell more books and different items, like they're going to auto ungate you in toy brands. They're going to auto ungate you with like board games, office supplies. Now, there are certain brands where you're going to have to go out and, get an invoice. Like if you want to sell like Hasbro, you might have to go to Kohl's and buy 10 or 50 or 100 of an item, get that invoice, submit it to Amazon and start selling it. But for me, I think that's the best model, retail arbitrage. And then I would say after 6 to 12 months, I would start looking into Amazon flips, eBay to Amazon flips, once you have a good knowledge. So for me, that's the route that I would recommend for sure. Can similar rules apply to Kindle public domain publishing? I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I'm sorry. I'm not really in the Kindle publishing game anymore. All right, so here's another question. This is a really good question. So say you're out at the thrift store and you're scanning books and you find a book that when you scan it, it says that, let me think. Okay. So let me say it like this. Say you're at the thrift store and you scan a book and it looks like a really great book. It looks like it's really going to be profitable. But when you look on the listing, there's nobody selling it. There's nobody used. There's nobody new. But for some reason, Scout IQ is saying green, buy it. It's because Scout IQ knows something. What do you do? What do you do when you scan a book and it looks good, but there's no buy box? There's nobody on the listing. How do you know how much you can sell it for? How do you know how much profit you can make? So the best thing you can do, okay, is you have to learn how to use Keepa, okay? Keepa is going to tell you the entire sales history of a specific ASIN. That's an identifier. Just like your house has an address, every product on Amazon has an ASIN. That's the identifier. And you can look this up within Keepa. Keepa's like the MLS for real estate. You know how you go on the MLS and you can see what houses sold for, the history of the house to kind of get an idea of what a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,200 square foot house would sell for. Keepa is the same thing, but for Amazon products. So if you're using Scout IQ or Scoutly, they usually have like a Keepa chart or a little link that you can click over to Keepa. And all you have to do is open up Keepa and there's going to be a little graph and you'll be able to see the history of what the item has sold for in the past. Okay. So open up Keepa, check out Keepa, see what it sold for in the past. And if you can see a history of people selling it for 25, 30, 22, 35, you can kind of get an idea of what the item is worth and how much you could sell it for. And then you could plug that into your app, put in your buy. Then you can put in your buy cost, your selling price, and kind of get an idea of what that item is selling for. 100%, Mr. Exquisite. Keepa is the #1 tool I believe everyone should start with. The monthly fee is worth unlimited income. Absolutely. Keepa tells the story. If you're not sure what an item is selling for, if you're not sure of the value, if you're not sure, like, is this like price like going to actually sell today or is this a seasonal item? Keepa will show the whole entire story. And there's literally people who make a full-time living. They just buy books because of Keepa, because they see right now that the book is actually only worth $10 or $11, but they look and they see that during textbook season in August and September, that the book actually spikes up to $50 or $60. If you guys aren't following my friend Joji Davenport, follow him on YouTube. The guy literally quit his job as a chemistry teacher and just uses Keepa to literally find books that aren't worth anything right now, but spike in price because there's a bunch of demand in 3 to 4 to 5 months, guys. I'm telling you, Keepa, game changer, $20 a month. I could not run my business without Keepa. Literally could not do it. Yo, we got Sal in the house, dude. Sal has helped me so much behind the scenes, guys, with a bunch of different things. Appreciate you, bro. You know what you've helped me with, man. My account's in the green. I'll just say that. You know what I'm talking about. Thanks for all the info. I've used all the knowledge on Walmart, and I've been killing it. Awesome. Love it. Appreciate you, Sal. Crypto May says sometimes those one-offs can sell infrequently for 200 to 300% ROI. Learn that from you and Ronnie. Absolutely. Like, a lot of people are looking to only flip items that are consistently selling, right? Like, I want items that sell 10, 20, 30 times a month. And I know 100% it's going to sell for $50. But sometimes if you go to a thrift store, you can find a DVD that's like 300,000 rank, and maybe it hasn't sold in like 11 months. But if you could buy it for $2 and there's a chance of it selling for $80, buy it. Why? It's the risk versus reward, right? If there is a huge, gigantic reward and a little minuscule risk, take the chance. But, you know, if I'm doing eBay to Amazon flips and there's an item that might sell 12 months down the road and I have to sell, you know, I have to pay $40 for it to sell it for 80, I'm not going to do it because the risk to reward isn't there. But if you're at a library sale, a thrift store, or you come across an item, a book or a DVD that's super duper long tail, you can even merchant fulfill it if you don't want to send it to FBA. But absolutely, I 100% agree that there's some one-offs that can absolutely just make you a ton of money with super low risk and high reward. Let's see. Rockin323 says, hey, bud, I know you mentioned you came to Maine a while back. Oh, I love Maine. Yeah, I went to Camden. I went to Bar Harbor, Booth Bay. I think, is it Booth Bay? I always want to call it Tooth Bay. Are you here often? I come a couple times a year, north or south. Love to meet you out here. Yeah, for sure. So I'll definitely maybe put out a community post next time I'm in Maine. Maine is beautiful. I mean, the views, it is just, Maine is one of the most beautiful places. I love Maine. It's gorgeous. Yeah, Matt says I use Camel. I haven't used that in years. But what's up, Matt? Great to have you here. Thanks for coming and hanging out. We got WSP Bro. What's up? Good to see you here. Hey, Steve. Hello, hello. Yeah, Portland is great. I love Portland. What else is there? What's next to Portland that a lot of people go to? I forget. Portsmouth, I think. That's another nice place. All right, here's a great question. So I got asked a question the other day. I had a friend of mine who is so I have a friend of mine who's flipping items from eBay to Amazon. He's doing it. I think he's doing like $5,000, $10,000 a month. I mean, he's doing pretty well. He hasn't been doing it for a long time. And he wants his brother to get started, but his brother's kind of on a budget and doesn't want to spend the $40 per month plan in the beginning to sign up for, you know, Amazon Seller Central, because Amazon has two plans. They have a $40 a month plan and then they have a free plan. So he was asking me, Steve, is it like worth it for my brother to just sign up for the free plan and then eventually go the route of having the pro plan, which is $40 a month? What's the pros and cons? So there's three main reasons why I would recommend getting the pro plan. I used to recommend people starting with the free plan, but I don't recommend it anymore. So there's three big benefits. Number one, if you're using the pro plan, you don't have to pay a $1 fee. So if you're on the free plan, you're going to get hit with the normal fees plus a $1 fee. So if you're planning on selling more than 40 items per month, you're actually going to save money by having the $40 a month plan. So that's number one, that extra $1 expense every sale. Number two, this is a big one. If you're not on the pro plan, you're not able to use third-party listing software. So you're not going to be able to integrate and use GoToLister. You're not going to be able to use Scout IQ or Scoutly. You're not going to be able to use a repricer like BeCool. So that's a big one right there. And then number three, in order to get ungated, to request to, manually ungate, sell other brands, you also have to have a pro plan as well. So for those three reasons, if your brother is serious about selling, I would not use the free plan on Amazon anymore. So hopefully that helps. I had to do some research for that before this video. But yeah, they've made a lot of updates with that. All right. If you guys have any questions, keep it coming. If you're new here, I'm going to try to get through all these questions. I'm going to see how I can do. All right. Okay, so here's a great question. So we got a question from a viewer saying, I'm selling on Amazon, but I'm getting a ton of returns. Steve, what can I do to reduce the returns on Amazon? Okay, so that's a great question. The first thing you have to keep in mind is returns on Amazon typically are going to play off of the categories that you're selling on. So if you're selling like books and DVDs, usually the return rate is less than 3%. Once you start getting into toys and stuff, it'll get up to maybe 5-6%. If you're selling like electronics and tools and items where people have to install it and put it together and there could be user error, a lot of times like you can get up to 11, 12, 15, 20% return rate. In my business, my return rate for the whole year averages, I think it's around like 8%. I've had some months where I'm over 10% because I sell a lot of electronics. I sell a lot of toys. I sell products that are a little more risky. So just keep in mind the category that you're selling in, the return rate is going to be higher. So make sure you have a high enough ROI to kind of cushion that. I make sure my ROIs are really high to make sure that I'm not getting screwed by my high return rate, because some returns are sellable and some items, or some returns are sellable and some returns Amazon FBA will classify them as unsellable, which means I got to get them shipped back to my house or destroyed. A couple tips as well is, in order to minimize returns, make sure that you're selling the correct item, that it's matching up with the listing. Like you might sell a DVD that's like, season 7 and you're shipping in season 8. So it's a mismatch. So that item's going to get returned. So make sure when you're scanning, when you're sourcing, that it actually matches the exact item that you're selling. And I'm trying to think what else. I would say the last tip that I would give in terms of returns is make sure that you're looking at like the star rating. When you start selling items, especially like electronics and tools and toys and just things where there could be user error, if it's like less than a 3.5 star, those items get returned a lot because customers don't like the product. So just keep that in mind, and make sure you're packaging your items well, like packaging your box well when you're shipping it to Amazon FBA. And if you're merchant fulfilling, making sure you're packaging your items up well. People used to make fun of me because I used to put so much tape on my boxes before I had a prep center, but I don't want my items to get damaged. So it doesn't mean they won't get damaged, but those are just a couple of tips. Crypto Mace is asking, have you ever sourced books in either Canada or Mexico in your travels? Is it worth checking the bookstores when abroad? So I don't have a ton of experience with this, to be 100% transparent. I haven't traveled abroad much, so I really don't know. I do know some friends of mine who have traveled abroad, and there could certainly be opportunities. But like, for example, with Replen Catcher, that's the software that I've developed that helps, me and, hundreds of other people to find items on eBay to flip on Amazon. We're right now we're actually building it for the UK. So we're building the software for another marketplace. And, after doing a bunch of testing and different things like that, there's a lot of similar DVDs for US and the UK, but it's like a different version. It's a different model. It's like a different language. So it's not the exact same ASIN. So like if you're going to be sourcing abroad, you might have to find the listings that match up, and there might not be a big market in the US. But just scan products. As long as it's a match and it's not a bootleg, you should be fine. But I'm sure there's definitely opportunities abroad. Just make sure it's a match and make sure that it's, not a bootleg or a counterfeit, right? Don't be buying a bunch of stuff if you're traveling to China and thinking, wow, this is better than eBay to Amazon. I'm going to be going to China all the time and buying these DVDs, because I can promise you that those things are bootlegged, 100%. Yeah, Matt says sneaker returns are up to 20%, but why do people flip sneakers on Amazon even though the return rates could be up to 20%? Because the margins are freaking cuckoo. The margins are absolutely insane. So sometimes people look at my results, right? Wow, Steve, you sold $700,000. That's great, but your return rate is 9 or 10%. But what? Who cares what the return rate is, as long as you have a high enough ROI and you have a high enough profit to cushion it, and you know your numbers for how many items are going to be returned as sellable and unsellable. As long as your ROI is high enough, you could cushion a 15, 20% return rate as long as your margins are high enough. So I just want to be very clear with that. All right, Junior Flores in the house. Junior's asking how to deal with Amazon telling you that you're not eligible for the buy box. It tells me that my price is too high, but I already sold a product at that price. Amazon wants me to lower it. So this is a really good question. So if you're selling on Amazon, there's going to be times where you're going to get hit with high pricing errors. There's going to be times where you're not buy box eligible. And there's a couple things that my team and I, we do when we come across situations like this. So number one, we'll open up a case with Amazon, and sometimes we'll send them a screenshot of the Keepa chart showing them the history of the ASIN and just kind of state in our case. I mean, if you're using ChatGPT, you can create like a custom You can create a custom GPT, or you can just type in a chat GPT. Here's the history of me selling this item. I've sold it for this much. Create an email that I can send over to Amazon. And that works. We do that all the time. Now, I don't personally do that in my business. I've got someone I pay about $600 a month who deals with all my high pricing errors, stranded inventory, opening cases, lost shipments. But you could open up a case with Amazon and state your case, and sometimes they'll fix it for you. Another thing that you can do is just slowly lower the price. So a lot of times we'll lower the price by 50 cents, $1, $2, and we're trying to lower it to get the freaking AI algorithm to just fix it. Because a lot of this stuff is just AI. It's the algorithm. It's whatever freaking Amazon has set up for whatever reason. And you have to understand, Amazon's tracking these products on different websites and stuff. So if all of a sudden this product showed up on a different website at a cheaper price, sometimes they'll suppress the buy box. Sometimes they'll hit you with high pricing errors. So opening up cases, sending a screenshot of Keepa, running it through ChatGPT, sending them over a message. Sometimes you can get a rep to fix it. And in terms of buy box eligibility, the more you sell of a category, the more you sell of a product, a lot of times they'll stop giving you a hard time and hassling you about buy box eligibility. I mean, if you're a brand new bookseller, you're not going to have the buy box in the beginning. You just have to sell as much as you can, fight through the pain. And more often than not, eventually within a couple of months, if you're a new bookseller, you'll become buy box eligible. But also take note of these ASINs, right? A system that I implemented recently in my business is we went through all the ASINs that are getting hit with high pricing errors, stranded inventory that are problematic, items that just don't sell for whatever reason. And we make sure not to buy these items anymore if they're a pain in the butt. So hopefully those tips help, Junior. Sal says sourcing books in Spanish versions are great, like 400 to 600% more expensive than the US version. Yeah, I mean, as long as you could find a listing for it and you're matching up the product correctly. I mean, even like teacher edition books could make you a lot of money. Books in different languages can make you a lot of money. But again, when you source the physical book or the physical product, you need to make sure that it actually matches up with the Amazon listing. Because if you send in an international edition book and it's not an actual international edition, you can upset the customer and get a return, and it could just cause a lot of problems for you. And you have to understand, when you get a return, you're the one paying for it. Then on the back end, you have to pay to destroy it or get it shipped back to your house. So absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of money to be made. Just again, make sure it's a match. What are your thoughts on Checkmate Flips getting suspended? I've been following them for the last 2 years, and I feel like it just happened so abruptly. I'm trying to figure out how much I want to say publicly about this. I guess I'll just say, without sharing too much information, I'll say what I think is fair, in my opinion. And I don't think he would mind me sharing this, but this is a reality. If you're going to flip items from eBay to Amazon and you're going to go after risky products, if you're going to go after super fast selling products, if you're going to go after items that are within the medical field, you're increasing your risk like crazy if you don't have invoices, even if you're not doing eBay to Amazon. And, Seth is very smart. Seth is a good friend of mine. Seth is very educated, but Seth is ballsy and he knows it. And I would tell him right now, and Gizzy would tell everybody right now as well, that Seth is a stone cold killer. He might look like a quiet guy who is very conservative and isn't willing to take risks, but he did some pretty risky stuff in his business, and eventually it caught up to him. And ever since I've known Seth, he's been not doing risky things, but going after riskier products. And it's not to say that he necessarily did anything wrong. I mean, his margins were probably 40 to 50% higher than what my margins were. Because ever since I've known him, he's going after these items a lot of these items that I won't touch. I'm just being 100% transparent with you. If you're going to go after those risky type items, you have a much higher chance of getting suspended. And it caught up to Seth. Again, Seth, amazing guy. Feel free to send him this video. I'm not talking bad about him. This is anything I would say to his face. I would say it publicly. And it doesn't mean that I'm doing anything special. There are certain products I go after that are a little bit more risky, but I understand that those items can catch up with me. I got my landscaper outside. I'm waving to him. But I understand those items could catch up to me. Seth flipped a lot of riskier items, and eventually they caught up to him. And there were a couple issues that happened to him that had nothing to do with not having invoices. He sent some items. He sent the wrong product. Like, I don't know what it was, but he was supposed to sell a black colored product and it came white. It was a different version. I don't know exactly. You guys can ask him, but that's the reality of thrifting. The reality of doing eBay to Amazon. That's the reality of selling stuff around your house on Amazon. These issues can catch up to you. But the good news is, if he really wants to get his account back, if he really wants to fight to get his account back, it's certainly possible. But the issue is, a lot of people, they kind of get scarred by these issues. But yeah, I mean, that's why you just want to play with the amount of money that you're comfortable with and not play with too much. I mean, it could happen to me too. I'm not anything special. I don't have any secrets. I don't know more than anybody else, but I'm very conservative. I try to really fly under the radar, and I feel like it would give me a longer shelf life flipping from eBay to Amazon. But if you ask him, I think he would agree with everything I said. It's unfortunate. It sucks. I called him. We had a phone call because he's one of my good buddies. Hope, I don't know if he wants to come back to doing eBay to Amazon, but it's just the reality. It's not even eBay to Amazon. It could happen to anybody. Yeah, absolutely, Junior. Yeah, Mr. Mann says Seth is a high risk taker. He is. The higher the risk, the higher the reward. It's just, Amazon's very unforgiving nowadays. So it sucks. I hope all the best for Seth. All right, let's get into another question. All right, so here's a great question. So I got a question asking Steve, I'm getting prepared for the fourth quarter. When should I get all my items shipped into the fourth? When should I get all my items shipped to Amazon to make sure they check in for the fourth quarter craziness, right? And if you don't know, on Amazon, October, November, December, a lot of toys, a lot of games, video games. I mean, even DVDs, office supplies. I mean, items sell really, really fast during the fourth quarter because of the holiday season, so on and so forth, especially toys. So when should you get all your items shipped in? And I guess I'll share what I'm doing. So for me personally, I want to get all my items shipped in by early November, by the first or second week of November, by the first and second week of November, because you have to understand, everybody's going to be shipping items in. The warehouses are going to get busy. And if you ship items in at the end of November or the first week of December, it's just going to take 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Maybe it could take 2 months for items to get checked in. So for me personally, I recommend getting as much of your inventory shipped in by October or November. And if you're concerned with cash flow, start merchant fulfilling stuff after November. So, so far this year, I've been spending about $30,000 per month on eBay because I flip items from eBay to Amazon. I've ramped items up. If you're in my free eBay to Amazon Facebook group, you can just look that up on Facebook. I put out a post. I've raised my spend to, I'm trying to spend $40,000 to $50,000 per month up until the first week of November. And then I'm going to stop buying. I'm going to let my team go on vacation, enjoy themselves, travel, and I'm just going to let all my inventory sell out. So let me know. I'm curious what you guys do in terms of like, when's your cutoff for shipping items in. All right. We are rocking and rolling. Let's keep. Oh, this is another good question, guys. I got so many questions here. Pay attention to this question, guys. So I got a question from somebody asking, Steve, I live at home with my parents. I guess this guy's like 19 years old. He's been watching my videos. He's been selling. He's doing about $5,000 per month right now. He's flipping books, going to library sales. And his mom wants to start selling on Amazon, just like how I taught my mom. I taught my mom to sell on Amazon over 10 years ago. And he's asking, I've heard that if you have multiple Amazon accounts within one like household that you can get in trouble and they can link the accounts and you could get shut down. Is that true? Should I have my mom get started? What are your thoughts? So Amazon's crazy with stuff like this. I highly recommend against having your mom set up an account if you guys live in the same house. Now, when I had a full set of hair and I was 28 years old, I had an account. My mom had an account. We were living in the same house. But this was back in like 2015. Amazon didn't care as much. Now in 2025, they will 100% link your accounts together, say that you guys are working together and it's against terms of service, and they'll shut you down. So if you live in the same house with a brother, with a father, with anybody, I highly recommend not doing it. I would just have your mom selling the account with you. Keep one account. Down the road, when you move out, you could always send a message to Amazon and say, I moved out. I live in a different place. You could check my IP. And then you could have your mom set up an account. But I am super duper paranoid. I've heard of people linking accounts. And this is just like the quickest way to get you guys both shut down. It's not fair. It sucks. It's BS. Screw you, Amazon. But it's the reality. I would not do it. 100% would not do it. I'm continually denied to list items in my collection. What can I do to list items? You're going to have to give me more details. I'm not sure why you're getting denied. Are you a new seller? Give me more information, please. But James, thanks so much for hanging out. I appreciate you being here. Somber says, hey, Steve, I used Little Owl Prep on and off for the past year doing FBA, but I am wanting to do FBM now. Do you have any experience with Little Owl handling FBA orders? I don't have any experience with Little Owl handling FBM orders. I believe they do it, but I believe they only do it for certain clients because it obviously takes a lot more manpower and checking up daily. So I don't have any experience, but I would put maybe a post out in the Little Owl Prep group or put a post out in one of the communities to see what people have to say. But I mean, Little Owl Prep, that's the prep center that I use. So, I've been using them for like 18 months now, maybe longer. It's been a while. They're great. I love Little Owl Prep. I actually have a question from somebody coming up soon about Little Owl Prep, but I love Little Owl Prep. They do everything for me. I mean, I buy all my items on eBay. They get shipped to Little Owl Prep in Ohio. They prep it. They ship it to FBA. And Little Owl Prep has a software that is freaking incredible. It's really great. So every time we buy products, we let them know it's coming. We'll put in the ASIN, the condition, what we want to price it at. And then when the items get to the Little Owl Prep and they scan the items in that are coming from eBay, it'll update in the system and I can see everything they received. And it's just great. Little Owl Prep is awesome. And the owner, Frank of Little Owl Prep, is actually coming to the Books and Beyond event. So if you guys haven't heard, me along with Joji, Avery, and Victor, we're all full-time Amazon sellers. We're hosting a conference live in Las Vegas. So if you just Google Books and Beyond conference, it's going down October 10th to the 12th. I think we have maybe 80 to 100 people in total that are going to be there so far. So if you're looking to learn about selling on Amazon, if you're in the area, get a freaking ticket. It's going to be sweet. But yeah, Frank of Little Owl Prep is going to be there. Matt says, I want everything in by Halloween, ideally. Yeah, absolutely. There's a January spike. Yep, 100%. What happened to the green room? We stopped doing the green room, I forget when, 2018 maybe? Everyone just kind of moved on to different things. But we're also still cool with one another. It's just the business just kind of ran its course. We ran it for quite a few years. James, a new seller. I was approved to sell an item, but I keep getting error codes, and I've tried multiple times to correct the issue, but I have not been successful. Are you using GoToLister, or are you listing directly with Amazon Seller Central? Yeah, it sounds like you're going to have to open a case with Amazon, or if you're using like GoToLister or AccelerList, putting a post in their group, because there could be a bunch of different reasons why you're not able to sell. All right. I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to try to do a couple more questions here. Oh, this is a great question. So let's say you're at a thrift store and you find a brand new sealed DVD with the slip cover that goes over it, but the slip cover is damaged. Can you sell that item as new, even though the seal, the wrapping around the DVD is in perfect condition, but the slip cover is destroyed? Will you get in trouble for sending in a DVD without the slip cover? Absolutely not. I mean, I'll sell these all day long. It doesn't matter if the slip cover is on it. I mean, some people might want it if they're collecting. Unfortunately, if you're selling items as new, you can't put any condition notes. So there's no way to really let people know. But I've sold hundreds of items without the slip cover as new, as long as the seal and the DVDs, in good condition. I've never had any issues. I've never had any problems. So if the slipcover is messed up, it's no big deal. Just throw the slipcover away and send in the DVD to Amazon. Are there any Amazon funding platforms that will deal with sellers with less than 10K a month inventory? I'm not sure. Just recently starting over from Section 3. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Crypto Mace. I'm really not sure. Maybe some folks in the comments know, though. Oh, here's another great question. So be very, very careful if you're on Facebook Marketplace and you see people advertising Gaylords of books. So Gaylords could have 500, 800, 1,000 books in this big box. I mean, like even more, it could have even more than 1,000 books. And sometimes you can buy these books dirt cheap. And I actually got a question from someone saying that they can buy these Gaylords for a couple $100 on Facebook Marketplace. Should they buy these books? Is this a really good way to get started? And the answer is it could be good, but it's probably going to be bad, because a lot of times what's happening on Facebook Marketplace is it's these big bulk 7-figure Amazon booksellers who essentially they're buying these Gaylords of books. They're scanning them all. They're selling all the good ones. And then they're trying to discard all of their duds. It's called a dud. So what they might do is mix in like a couple decent ones, but out of the 1,000 books, 99% of them will be crap. So you have to get an understanding of who's selling the books. Is it an ex-Amazon seller? Have they scanned the book? So I would be very, very clear and let them know, I'm an Amazon seller. Are you an Amazon seller? Did you scan these books? How did you get these books? Why are you selling these books? Are they going out of business? Is it all of their duds? I've seen this happen so many times where people, they spend all this money, all this time. They go, they buy all these books. They get a truck, they get the books, they bring them back, they scan them through, and they waste their money. So I would warn people to be very, very, very careful going after Gaylords of books on Facebook Marketplace, unless it's a trusted relationship that you've built. So yeah, be very, very, very careful. I think it's a bad idea for most people, unless you're experienced. Yeah, Matt says, I fell victim to this years ago. We all have. We all have. You don't know what you don't know. Phantom Blue says the green room was great. Ended up buying a lot of ebooks from all of you, even the Killer Shoe Brand books and course. Yeah, I know, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You know, yeah, I mean, the green room was awesome. 101 killer clothing brands, Blazing Profits. I had an ebook on blazers, sport coats, and suits. Yeah, those are the good old days. Hey, what's up, Josh? Josh? I'm losing my voice here. I can't talk. Josh says, what's up, Steve? Looking good, my man. Appreciate you, Josh. I hope you're doing really well. I hope the family's well. I hope you're crushing it on eBay. I hope Amazon's going well if you're flipping on Amazon. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We got Jake Abraham commenting, Steve, I just got a job as a nurse. Would recommend getting into Amazon FBA. Saw your X-ray tech video yesterday. Well, awesome, Jake. And I believe it's Jake. I see an I in it, so I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. But congrats on getting a job as a nurse. A lot of people don't realize how hard it is to actually get a job as a nurse. Like going through that schooling, the prerequisites, all the chemistry and the anatomy and physiology, and I mean, even the mathematics and the English, and then finally getting accepted, and then having to go through the program and the stress of, you know, I didn't go through the nursing program or the actual X-ray tech program because, as you heard in the video, I ended up quitting and going full-time reselling. But congratulations on that. That's really, really awesome. So the thing is right now, I would say it would depend upon how far along your nursing career is. If you're new, if you're just getting started as a nurse, I'd probably put all my energy into that because you're going to be making really, really good money. And I know that's going to be stressful. So if you're on the newer side and it's stressful, I would focus on that. But if you have free time, if you have extra time and you're willing to, you know, learn a new side hustle, then definitely I would recommend Amazon FBA. You just have to understand it's not quick money. It's not get rich quick anymore. Amazon, there's a lot of loopholes you have to, not loopholes, there's a lot of roadblocks that you have to jump over with Amazon. There's a lot that you're going to have to learn. It takes a good 3 to 6 month investment to really start making some money. The first 3 or 4 months, you might not be making that much money. You're having to go through getting ungated. Amazon's holding your pay. You have to learn Keepa, learning the softwares. There's overhead. So, I mean, it just depends upon like, what's your commitment? Are you committed? Are you willing to put in the time? Amazon's really hard in the beginning, but there's a big payoff down the road. There's certainly a pot of gold at the end of the road. So I guess I would ask myself those questions. You could certainly start Amazon a couple hours per week on the side and grow it and build it up. But it's just going to take, a good 6 months, I would say 3 to 6 months to get things flowing. So I'd be curious of your thoughts on that. All right. Guys, I'm going to answer a couple more questions before my voice gives out. What's up, Kristen? I really appreciate you being here. So Kristen is asking, if you're using SellerAmp and you scan an item and it says this product has few historic sellers, which is a sign it could be private label, do you avoid this item? So I don't necessarily avoid the item. What I would do is I would dive a bit deeper into Keepa to see the history of how many people have been on the listing. So, I mean, if there's a history of, 15 or 20 people being on a listing, but maybe it just sold out, I really wouldn't worry about it. Typically, what I'm worried about with private label is if there's just one seller on the listing forever, and a lot of times it'll be the brand. So what I would do is I would take a look at the listing, right? Maybe you're trying to sell Simply Gum, and SellerAmp's warning you that it is possibly a private label item. I would go into Keepa and I would look at the history, the buy box analysis to see who's been on the listing. And if it's Simply Gum on the listing, the brand's on the listing, I would never sell it because it's a high likelihood chance you're going to get an IP complaint. But if I see a good history of a bunch of random people and arbitrage sellers and different people on the listing, but maybe now it's just only a few people on the listing because it's kind of sold out, then I would sell it. Also, if you have to ask yourself, what is the item? If it's like grocery or, like a popular item or like kind of a weird brand, I kind of get sketched out. But if it's like a book or a DVD or like an old vintage discontinued toy, I really wouldn't be worried about it being private label because the brand's not going to be on the listing for a Sony cassette player from 1989, right? That's brand new sealed that I'm buying on eBay or buying at a thrift store to flip on Amazon. So hopefully that gives a little bit of context for you. So if you want to reach out to me, the best way, honestly, to reach out to me is probably join my Facebook group. So you can go to eBay to Amazon Masterclass on Facebook and join that group. And you could always tag me, or you can add me on Facebook under Steve Rakin, add me as a friend, and you could always send me a private message. All right, let's see if there's one more question that I could answer here. All right, there's a couple more I want to answer. So will I sell a product if Amazon is on the listing? Because a lot of people will say, if Amazon's on the listing, don't sell that DVD, don't sell that item, don't sell that product. Amazon is on the listing. It's so bad. The reality is, if Amazon's on the listing, you can still win the buy box. Some people, they won't sell on a listing if Amazon's on the listing because sometimes like there's nice Amazon and then there's mean Amazon. Sometimes Amazon will share the buy box. They'll allow it to rotate and you can just undercut them by like 1% to 2% and you can get the sale. But sometimes there's mean Amazon. Well, they'll steal the buy box 100% of the time. And if you lower the price, even $5, $10, they'll undercut it by like $30 and just knock you out of business. They won't give you the buy box. So you have to just be aware of Amazon. And one of the recommendations that I would give you is if Amazon's on the listing, if you're using SellerAmp or if you're using Keepa, whatever, go into Keepa, look at the buy box analysis, the buy box statistics, and see is the buy box rotating? Is Amazon sharing the buy box? And you have to understand 80 to 90% of the sales on Amazon are going through that buy it now button. That's the buy box. So if the buy box is not rotating, you might be sitting on your inventory for a long time and never sell the item. So it depends, but sometimes I will, sometimes I won't after doing my research. All right. Let's see what else we got here for one more question. So I got a question asking, Steve, why did you decide to get a prep center? Why did you quit prepping all your own inventory? Because that's what I did for many years. I would go to thrift stores, garage sales. I would buy all my own stuff. And then eventually I moved down to eBay to Amazon. And I literally at some times I would have 100 packages on my doorstep, and I would bring them all in. I would box them up. I would list them. I would prep them. I would ship them. The reason I started using a prep center is because it's so much freaking work to have to unbox all your stuff, prep it, to clean it, to list it, to put it in a box, to ship it. And even though it does cost anywhere from $1 to $2 per item, the good thing about flipping items from eBay to Amazon is the margin is so freaking high. And on eBay, you can make best offers. So I just increased my margin on eBay to Amazon. I went from 30 to 40% up to now like 50 to 60%. So, that extra margin, it just pays for the prep fee. But it's really cool. I buy the stuff. It gets shipped to the prep center. They receive it. They list it. They clean it. They do all the work. They have a software where I can put in the condition, what to price it for. They do everything. They list it for me. They ship it for me. And then, Amazon will pick it, package, ship it, deal with that in the back end, and I get paid. So for me, it was just way less work. I was just so scared to start with a prep center because I heard horror stories. So if you're going to start using a prep center, do your research, ask around. There was actually a prep center called, what was it called? Tiger Lily. There was a prep center called Tiger Lily that screwed over tons of sellers. And one seller went to the prep center and all the stuff was outside. They weren't bringing anything in. They were ignoring everybody, and all those sellers got screwed. So if you are going to use a prep center, it could be amazing. But if you get a bad prep center, your life can go to absolute you-know-what. So yeah, be very, very careful. Yeah, Crypto Mace, exactly. Sometimes Amazon will share the buy box. Absolutely. It's okay to sell one or two of them. Just don't go too deep on that ASIN. Absolutely. So guys, I just want to thank everybody for watching live, for asking your questions. There were a couple more questions that I didn't get to. So I'll probably do a part 2 version of this, but hopefully you guys enjoyed me answering these questions and talking Amazon. I love talking Amazon. I could talk about it all day long. This is what I do. This is how I make the majority of my income in my various businesses. And I'm just plugging away, guys. I'm, last 30 days, about $60,000 in sales. I was going to show you my phone, but I'm also recording some stuff on my phone as well for another video. But yeah, my average selling price is around $100 per flip. I'm all eBay to Amazon, 100% prep center, little olive prep. Got 5 virtual assistants, 2 that source, 1 that reprices, 1 that does a bunch of back end stuff, and then 1 that does all my bookkeeping, all in the Philippines. Trying to think what else. I mean, it's business as usual. The only difference right now is I'm increasing my spend from about $30,000 a month up to $40,000 to $50,000 a month leading up until November. Then we're going to stop buying, let everything sell out. I'm going to chill out November, December, enjoy the holiday season, keep working out, try to get more jacked, and then just enjoy life with the family and the holiday season. So that's pretty much the game plan. But yeah, I just want to say thank you guys so much. I appreciate everybody who came in live, who asked a question, who engaged. I appreciate everybody who subscribed to the channel. And this replay will be up. So if you want to check this out or take notes afterwards, you certainly can. But with that being said, guys, thank you so much. Much love, everybody. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.